and Bullwinkle. Listen to this stuff. It's fantastic.
With his pal Bullwinkle and a host of others.
It is a host of others. Many sub-cartoons within the cartoon.
Bullwinkle, the show's about to start.
I'm coming as fast as I can.
He is.
Hurry, Bullwinkle. The program's about to start.
That's not a really good Rocky, but I do an okay Bullwinkle.
I'm coming as fast as I can.
It's like about halfway there. Not really good, but
Okay.
yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you. We got a blockbuster on this Wide Open Wednesday. First off, as usual, it's Wide Open Wednesday. You're the show producer. Whatever you'd like to discuss, it's wide open. Joe, our producer, fielding your phone calls via the Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. You'll want to stick around. We got a good one for the next 2 hours. Thanks for joining us via the radio. You found it? Oh, so fine. 93.9 FM. Make it one of your presets. 93.9 FM. You can also check out the program weekday afternoon starting at 4 p.m. on New Orleans' own 107.9 FM. 107.9 FM. I mentioned 600 AM for two reasons. One, I like going back in the past. 600 AM, I'm going black and white TV next. And anyway, the signal goes from Baton Rouge to Pensacola. That's the only reason I mention it. I think some modern cars, about 5 or 10% of them, don't have AM accessibility. But 90+% of you do. That band button, go to AM 600 from Baton Rouge to Pensacola, Florida. We're on TV for the first 90 minutes of the 2-hour radio program every weekday afternoon. On the radio, 4 to 6. On television, simulcast, 4 to 5:30. The first 90 minutes of the 2-hour radio program live on TV. Cox Channel 4 television. You subscribe to Cox TV, the state's #1 television provider. Cox Channel 4 statewide. If you're a charter television subscriber, a.k.a. Spectrum, Spectrum Channel 333. Spectrum 333. Statewide from 4 to 5:30 weekdays. Live streaming our website, CoreyTalks.com. Corey spelled Kaare. You can put in CoreyJohnson.com. You can put in Corey Johnson.com. It'll steer you to CoreyTalks.com, spelled the correct way. Email us, Corey@CoreyTalks.com. And finally, very tired now, we're on YouTube. Check us out, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on YouTube. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's fledgling. We're trying to grow it. It's just a little baby. We're scratching it under the chin. It's all powdered up, diapers clean, ready to grow and go. The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on YouTube. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It don't cost nothing. All right, why all the excitement? Why a blockbuster Wide Open Wednesday? Coming up in 10 minutes, New Orleans Office of Inspector General, the IG himself, Ed Michel, will join us. He released a city fuel card report. Joe, I've been pounding for this for years. I know so much about it from people that fuel up their cars. They go home and siphon gas into the wife or their other vehicle, their kid's vehicle, fill back up the next day. The PIN numbers are etched on the pump. All of this stuff. Ed Michel basically verified what I've been talking about for years and a whole hell of a lot more, doing the hard work. The investigation. He'll join us in 10 minutes to talk about the abuse going on there, recommendations on how to fix it, what the city sort of did, and how they've blown off a bunch of other things. Millions of dollars wasted. It's really criminal activity. It's criminal activity. coming up in an hour. How about no traffic or red light cameras in New Orleans? Joe's pumping his fist behind the glass. How about no traffic camera or red light cameras in the city of New Orleans? How about statewide? It's called Senate Bill 21. Alan Seabaugh, State Senator Alan Seabaugh, one of 39. He's going to join us to discuss that in an hour. We'll open up the 5 o'clock power hour with State Senator Alan Seabaugh and discuss Senate Bill 21. I'm giddy, Joe. Can you tell? Joe literally has that masking tape wrapped around my waist, hooked to the chair, but that wasn't enough. I just started flailing around the chair and knocking stuff over. The chair is bolted to the ground. I can't move till 6 p.m. Okay, that's a slight fabrication, but it's actually a lie. It's a total falsehood. A radio television prank, but you get the idea. I'm very giddy. I've always been against the traffic cameras and red light cameras. It's ridiculous. Put up a bunch of more crime cameras if you want to do anything in the seedy neighborhoods, the shady areas, the high crime areas, right? Or don't have them at all. I can promise you this. No one comes to New Orleans and goes, my God, man, it's such a dangerous street. You could get in a wreck. Almost got run over. I'm not saying we have great drivers. I think we have pretty crappy drivers, but I don't think it's like some life or death situation. Like I would say crime, infrastructure, education, economic opportunity, housing. I mean, you want to keep going? I'll rattle off a list that'll end in the next segment. Way ahead of traffic light cameras. Plus, the mayor ran on eliminating them and then reneged on the promise. Said, no, thanks. We need the money. You knew what it was all about before. Anyway, State Senator Alan Seabaugh hopefully makes it a moot point, eliminates them. Senate Bill 21, eliminating traffic cameras and red light cameras statewide. That includes New Orleans, Louisiana. Bingo, kaboom, goes the dynamite. So State Senator Alan Seabaugh in an hour, and in a little over 5 minutes, Ed Michel, the OIG, talking about city fuel card abuse. Evict LaToya, Junket Cantrell. She doesn't need the Pontalba right now. She's staying at a plush hotel room in D.C. Another Junket Cantrell extravaganza, this time in our nation's capital. Taking in the sights and sounds of Washington, D.C., learning history of our country, doubtful. Eating at fine restaurants, oh yeah. Sleeping in a nice restaurant, in a nice hotel, First-class airline seats, you bet. She might be out of the Pontalba. I think she's been sort of persuado out of it for a while now, but hey, y'all, keeping the keys and my stuff over there. Governor Landry in town to sign crime legislation. The NOPD to move into the old Freeport McMoran building across from the Dome. Now that DXC building, that would be also home of the NOPD. Now, look, this is clearly Monday quarterback, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. You remember the naval facility on Poland Avenue? Although that was in operating order, like offices were in there. It wasn't like grade A office space. It was probably like grade C. It was probably some kind of crappy carpeting that needed to be replaced and wood paneling, but it was air conditioned. It was heated. It was climate controlled. It was secured. It was locked. The roof didn't leak. It was a federal complex, and the feds handed over this perfectly fine trio of buildings and huge parking garage. I think it's like almost 1 million square feet, like equal to one Shell Square of Place St. Charles. Handed that over to the city. And instead of the city, like all you got to do is put like a police substation there to start, and then a police station there, and then no one's going in there and screwing around. And then it's secured by default. But if you would have just maintained the building, the NOPD could have been gradually moving into that over the years. Offices in City Hall, like, boy, the 7th floor is not working well. Go to Poland Avenue. Go to Poland Avenue. Instead, Poland Avenue is like, demolition by vagrants, by fires and copper theft and just beating up the building, breaking the windows, stealing everything. It's a blighted site now. Needs to be totally redone. Corey Johnson with you. Ed Michel, OIG, City of New Orleans, next. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has been around since 1940 in New Orleans, straight through. 84 years of excellence. They're the biggest because they've always been the best. They've got walk-up locations, old school, personal service. They've got free pickup and delivery, East Bank, West Bank, home or office, sort of today's preferred method of dry cleaning. And they even have the future of dry cleaning, and no one else has it. It's Young's Express, their patented locker locations. You dump off your dirty stuff in a safe, secure Young's locker. Come back 2 days later, all perfectly dry cleaned. Young's Express locations, their lockers, they're located all over Metro New Orleans, probably right under your nose, like where you live or work and you didn't even know it. Since 1940, a New Orleans institution. YoungsDryCleaning.com, YoungsDryCleaning.com. It is a wide open Wednesday. We'll start the 5 o'clock hour with State Senator Alan Seabaugh discussing his Senate Bill 21, eliminating all traffic cameras and all red light cameras statewide. That means New Orleans. Speaking of New Orleans, OIG Ed Michel, the IG himself, joins us. How you doing, Ed? Thanks for joining us again.
Hey, Corey, thanks for having me.
No, my pleasure. Always a pleasure having you on the show. Hey, the latest and greatest, the fuel dispensing follow-up report. I just called it city fuel card abuse. Am I going over the top or pretty accurate?
Well, the city for 2022 spent over $3.6 million to purchase fuel and dispensed about 1.2 million gallons of fuel. And, we came up with a list of expenditures that I think going forward, the city needs to implement all of our recommendations to ensure that, the taxpayer dollars are being used effectively and efficiently.
Before we get into what you did, the real work, the real facts, the hard work, doing, the digging. I've been knowing for years, Ed, and have spoken about this on the program. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm throwing it out there as fact from multiple sources over years. There's fuel card abuse. Folks fill up their vehicle. Some are going like home and dispense. The gas is missing. So they're siphoning it into another vehicle, into other tanks, something like that. Their boat, the wife's car, husband's car, kid's car, coming back the next day or two, filling back up again. No way they could have done that mileage. PIN numbers for these cards. You have to punch in a PIN etched into the pump. And then there'll be an X and there'll be the new PIN number that'll work. And it's etched into the pump and everybody kind of knows where to find the PIN number on the pump. Those are just a few things that I know take place. Do you find those to be accurate from your report? And then we'll get into all the stuff you're talking about, including that list of expenditures.
Well, at the time of the original report, and this is a follow-up report, but the original report, which was conducted in 2016, we did observe pins etched into the fuel pumps at the fueling stations, and we identified about 273 instances out of over 80,000 fueling transactions in which a pin was used 2, 3, or 4 times. So we have seen a significant amount of improvement, and most significantly for this instance, the PIN numbers we were happy to find out were not etched into the fuel dispensing locations. So that's a huge plus for efficient dispensing of fuel going forward.
But still, in your latest and greatest PIN abuse, I guess, talk about that. But first, that list of expenditures you mentioned.
Sure. So I'll just touch base briefly on the first report. So in the first report, we found that fuel users were sharing fuel cards. There were no effective processes in place to deactivate inactive fuel cards. So employees who were no longer employed by the city actually still had these cards, and these cards were active.
Wow.
Fuel users shared PINs, and the city did not reliably identify or deactivate PINs belonging to users, as I said before, who were no longer employed by the city. So, that's a control mechanism that needs to be corrected. So when an employee is no longer employed by the city, these fuel cards and the PINs need to be deactivated. The city also didn't require accurate odometer readings or restrict the number of gallons that could be dispensed from the fueling stations during a single transaction. And, there were some instances where a vehicle would fill up with, 30 gallons when it had a 20-gallon fuel tank, and a couple of hours later it would fill up again with another 30 gallons, and then maybe a couple hours later it filled up again with 40 gallons. And again,
Wow.
These are vehicles that have a 20-gallon fuel tank, but without having a proper, control mechanism in place, i.e. PIN numbers, vehicle odometer, mileage, as well as the identifier for the unique PIN of the individual that's dispensing the gas, it's very difficult to find out where the gas went. Also, the vehicle coordinators did not review the fuel dispensing reports sufficiently to identify the suspicious transactions. And, more importantly here, this is all data that's at their fingertips. So if you look at the data, you can see, that a vehicle has a 20-gallon gas tank and 30 gallons were distributed. So that's a huge red flag there. And, the city did not effectively monitor the fuel use at the non-automated fueling stations as well.
And weren't tracking odometer readings very effectively either, right? Or
the issuance of the pins. With regard to your question about the pins, in the 2016 report, we found that several employees were sharing their PIN numbers, which is it's a violation of the policy at the time, which requires each employee to use their own individual PIN and not share it with anyone. We found over 800 individual PINs were used to dispense fuel within a 4-hour period, which normally a car doesn't go through that much gas within a 4-hour period. And we also found that the department vehicle coordinators reported that their departments used one PIN in some cases for an entire department for each fuel card, which again, without having a unique identifier for each PIN for each transaction, it's very difficult to track that this fuel is being spent and used properly.
Yeah, I mean, right away you think theft at the simplest form, just stealing the fuel. And then second, I'm like, hey, everyone, it's bring your car to the fueling station day. Charlie's letting you fill up for just $10 cash, regardless of the size of your tank, because Charlie is overseeing like a fleet or something and using that same PIN. It just seems very, very easy. Basically set up for abuse.
Yeah. So within the first report in 2016, this will kind of give you an idea of the improvement, which I'm glad to see that the city did make some improvement, but we still have a little ways to go. In the first instance, we found that fuel cards were used 3 or 4 times within a 4-hour time frame, and that analysis revealed that about 71,000 gallons of fuel were dispensed in these types of transactions in 2015, but only about 6,000 gallons were dispensed this way in 2022. So, in 2015, we had 71,000 suspicious gallons which were dispensed, and fast forward to 2022, they enacted partially most of our recommendations, and we only had an instance of about 6,000 gallons.
Yeah, cut by 90%.
But if you look at it, 6,000 gallons is still 6,000 gallons too many to be distributed at, $2 to $3 a gallon per gas.
No, of course. No, you're right. Ed Michel's with us, Inspector General, City of New Orleans. Go ahead, Ed.
So, and in one of the other things we found, and I'll skip to the recommendations because this is the most important part. We found that the active fuel card list included cards that should have been deactivated. Almost half, which was about 47% of the fuel cards listed, were not used at all in 2022, suggesting that many of these cards were tied to older, obsolete vehicles that were no longer in service. So having these active cards out there that can access gas for vehicles that are no longer in use, it invites the opportunity for potential fraud, waste, and abuse. So with that being said, we came up with 5 specific suggestions.
Hey, Ed, can you hang on for those suggestions? Because I got to take a break in a second.
Sure.
How many fuel stations are there citywide?
So there's 4 primary specific fueling pumps, and there are a couple of mobile ones within the city, but the city relies mainly on 4 distribution centers.
Are these all? Do they all have cameras?
Some have cameras, but not particularly all that are effectively working.
How don't all of them have cameras overseeing the entire facility so you can see any car coming in and out? And then like a toll booth, like a camera down low so you're catching the license plate of every vehicle. I'm kind of lost on that.
Well, I think going forward, once these controls are put into effect, I think, and I'm confident that the city will enact them now, because this is the second time that this report is coming out.
Yep.
And once I get back to what the recommendations are, they're not difficult to put into place. It just requires a little bit more diligence. And again, with the 1.2 million.
The 1.2 million what?
Oh, yeah, with the 1.2 million gallons, which was dispensed last year, it's something that the city needs to actively pursue to ensure that we are being good stewards with these taxpayer dollars.
No doubt. Ed Michel's with us, Inspector General, City of New Orleans. Corey Johnson with you till 6. We are coming right back. Don't move.
In New Orleans, the first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disk, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today and we'll meet our competitive prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
And supply.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 airy locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Outdoor dining. Middle Eastern cuisine, to the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with a crisp crust and delicate center. Unique and still from the finest freshwater restaurants. Local Doughboy, over 125 years. New Orleans' own Leiden. Wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Corey Johnson back at you. Thanks so much for joining us. Ed Michel, Inspector General, City of New Orleans, joins us on the program. So at the city fuel card abuse report, this follow-up, you said you have some suggestions, maybe some controls that could be put into play.
Sure. At the time that this report was published, there were several follow-ups, and we observed several weaknesses that persisted. One of those is some of the controls required by the Vehicle Equipment and Policy Manual were not consistently implemented to include quarterly vehicle inventory reporting and the biannual reconciliation of the PIN card. So if they just become more diligent with these PIN cards, as well as the vehicle coordinator reviews of the fuel use, because the fuel use does have and has been able to flag suspicious activity transactions. And if they pay more attention to those, they will be able to virtually eliminate many of these aberrant transactions that are occurring with the vehicles at the filling stations. The city also provided some training for the department coordinators, but the training coordinators did not continue on with that training and passed some of that information on as they had other job responsibilities. So they had some of the training which could have identified and mitigated some of these potential abuses at the pump, but they did not adhere to their own training. One of the biggest ones is that the city did not, as I said before, deactivate all of the obsolete PINs and fuel cards, which, again, it just increases the risk of improper use as these old cards with PIN numbers are around, and it gives them the ability to access fuel for cars and vehicles that are no longer being used in the fleet itself. One of the most important observations is some of the vehicles continue to have unreasonably high gallon transaction limits. And so some of these were limited, but when I say limited, they put a limit of 300 gallons per vehicle. So, these vehicles don't necessarily need a 300 gallon transaction limit per day, given the fact that
per day.
That's correct. So
what city-owned vehicle could burn 300 gallons of gas in a day? I can't even think of it. Some diesel generator. What would it be?
Well, and that's our point. They need to more appropriately limit some of the vehicle use consumption because, like we said, these vehicles, most of them have a 16 to a 28-gallon tank.
Well, why would it be by a day? It seems like you could kind of identify what these vehicles generally do, and it would be like a 30-gallon limit per week or 60-gallon limit per week or per month. Well, I don't get these absurd numbers per day. I mean, you could knock a couple of zeros off the back end of this stuff.
Well, so keep in mind that several of these vehicles are emergency management vehicles, and some do operate 24 hours a day. But that being said, it's virtually impossible to
burn
utilize more than 300 gallons in a day, even if it is operating 24 hours a day. So I think with some tighter controls, they can establish more integrity in the dispensing system. And lastly, they need to hold all of the vehicle equipment coordinators responsible for complying with the measurements laid out in the vehicle equipment policy, as well as some of the suggestions that we had made earlier. And they need to continue to provide regular training for the coordinators. And lastly, follow through on the initial efforts to implement, like we said before, realistic gallons per transaction controls. And lastly, get rid of all the pins that are obsolete, because whenever you have a pin that's still active, you can still get gas with it. If they clearly and consistently enforce controls on fuel dispensing, we can reduce the risk of fraud, waste, and abuse exponentially. In the city, I'm confident this time we'll fully implement the recommendations. I mean, the city spends millions of dollars on fuel each year.
No, and a lot of it's stolen, apparently. Critical. It is critical. And these controllers, these supervisors, they're the ones that the buck has to stop with them. With all this technology, it shouldn't be a problem. Ed, did any of this lead to individuals or an individual that were just blatant and egregious and just stealing fuel, where, you turn over information to the DA or the FBI or law enforcement?
Well, we still have aspects of certain inquiries that are ongoing that we just can't really talk about at this time, but we are continuously looking at the data and analyzing that information to ensure the integrity for future transactions, specifically when it comes to transactions that total more than several millions of dollars each year. I want to bring your attention, Corey, to a report that we're going to be releasing within the next couple of weeks. The Sewage and Water Board produces potable water for the city, and so we have originated and are getting ready to disseminate a report on the Sewage and Water Board titled Water Loss from the City of New Orleans. The city spends millions of dollars each year on our water system to treat the water, and large amounts of water are just simply going back into the ground after it's treated due to the crumbling infrastructure and the loss of water from failed pipes.
Ed, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being dead serious. I think it would have been easier to do the report the other way. Like what water actually comes out the pipe at the end from where it starts. Like, because I'm just saying, like, you're talking about water loss. It's more than half, I'm guessing. So, like, how about what water actually comes out would have been an easier report or investigation for you guys.
Well,
am I warm at least? I mean, I'm sort of half joking, but sort of serious.
Yeah, I think your listeners and all the citizens in New Orleans are going to find the report very enlightening.
No, I've talked to Ghassan Corbin, and he says at least half, 40+ %, 40 something plus % is lost. Anyway, no, I cannot wait for that. Water loss, Sewage and Water Board. Hey, real quick, someone had asked, our OIG does amazing work. Want it to be maximized. And I think you are maximizing like Bob Sarasoli did. I question if you can keep up this pace. Honestly, Ed, I worry about you from afar. Just I see what you're doing, and I hope you can keep up this pace. But he has questions about enforcement. Is the OIG, is their only enforcement option to hand cases over to the DA? Any idea how many cases have been prosecuted? Do they maybe need more enforcement options considering this DA's prosecution record?
Well, so under the ordinance, we have an obligation to process the information and deliver the information to the prosecuting attorney, whether it be state, local, or federal. And, that's where our jurisdiction ends. It is completely up to the prosecuting authority to move further and or dismiss the case. And so we have very little control as to the prosecutor's initiatives. And actions after the reports are turned over. I will tell you that the reports that we provide are widely accepted as fact because they are based on governmental accounting standards and are footnoted extensively and proven extensively. And so most of our reports, or if not all of them, are very highly accepted, and the recommendations are enacted. And we've had significant success in the criminal arena, where several city officials who were using their public office for personal gain have been indicted and successfully convicted and restitution obtained. And we will continue to use civil, criminal, and administrative remedies whenever we find individuals committing fraud, waste, and abuse.
Ed, I'm on the website. I see the monthly reports. I see the annual reports. I've seen what you've done the last few years. Can you keep this pace up? You doing fine? You like the gig? You ready to keep grinding?
So, this annual report is getting ready to come out at the end of March, and it has another unprecedented, sustained mitigation of fraud, waste, and abuse. So we've identified this year and/or recovered more than $4.2 million and produced 17 initial reports on fraud, waste, and abuse, and that is unprecedented. It's never been done before. So I'm very proud of the work that we've done, and I've increased my staff by about 45%.
Great.
And I think we are continually looking for good personnel to join us, and so I think we're going to be able to sustain that level and produce reports which are even more substantive in the future.
I love it. I love hearing that. NOLAOIG.gov, is that the website?
Yes, and we're also on Twitter as well as Facebook and Instagram, and we release our monthly reports as well as our planned reports and letters and audits on the website, and we are going to be releasing a report on the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office payroll processing system also within the next 30 to 45 days.
Ed Michel, wow, sewage and water board, waste, and the payroll with the Sheriff's Department in the next month and a half. Ed, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
That's Ed Michel, Inspector General, City of New Orleans. Find him at NOLAOIG.gov. Corey Johnson with you, coming right back.
Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread. From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became number one for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, fuller part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. A wide open Wednesday edition of the program. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed part of the show already. You missed a lot. New Orleans Inspector General Ed Michel was with us for about the last 25 minutes discussing the city fuel card abuse, a follow-up report. Also telling us what's coming up next. Sewage and Water Board, how much water is lost. I told him, I joked, and I wasn't really joking. You could have done the report the other way. It would have been easier. How much water actually comes out of the end of the pipe. Now, I think more than 50% of the Sewage and Water Board cleans, processes, treats 10 gallons of water. They send it out of the Claiborne facility. At the end of the pipe, 4 gallons of water come out, and 6 is leaked out of pipe after pipe, valve connection, whatever, on the way to the end of the road. So I think it's north of half the amount lost. But we'll find out. And then the sheriff's office payroll, my God. Susan Hudson, that office is a joke. Is a joke. It's a joke. The folks that allowed the word woke to turn into just like loony left instead of like aware and understanding other people's plight, especially like minorities. They've wrecked that term, and it's because of the, just, hey, let's give Susan Hudson a chance. Like, there's no learning on the job. There's no learning on the fly. This is a major city, a sheriff's office. You need professionals. There's no learning on the job. Just mistake after mistake. You know, it's frightening as hell. You ever listen to Susan Hudson? It's not like she's stupid or dumb. You can hear Susan Hudson speaking. She's like educated and actually seems sort of smart. She's just, I don't know, lazy, ineffective, painfully unorganized. I don't know what it is. She ain't getting the job done, that's for sure. It's like a nightmare, not a positive. Many more negatives than pluses. So no, that payroll with that department, my God, thank you, Office of Inspector General. sometimes I just don't understand, folks. I really don't. How could you be against Ed Michel in the Office of Inspector General? How could you think for a second, based off of, what he's done, that he angles towards black people or white people specifically, or Republicans over Democrats, or Democrats over Republicans, or has this angle or this agenda? There's nowhere that you can see that. I don't even know what this guy's registered as. I just know the guy's ridiculously effective, like Bob Sarasoli, a pit bull. He's relentless, honest, integrity, ethics, morals. Those things matter. New Orleans desperately needs a strong Office of Inspector General. They have one right now. Jefferson Parish desperately needs one. All the corruption and theft in Jefferson Parish. But you Jefferson Parish folks, seriously, don't really care. Think, hey, we're better than New Orleans. That's our barometer. Crappy, messed up, dysfunctional New Orleans. Broken New Orleans. That's your barometer. And the IG you have doesn't do anything because they can't do anything. Politics controls it, controls the budget. There's no reports. There's no investigations. You heard Ed. I'm worried he's leaving because he does such great work and so much. Jefferson Parish IG doesn't do anything. Nothing. And St. Tammany desperately needs one. Most affluent parish, fastest growing parish in the state. So many public projects. That means your St. Tammany taxpayer money. Don't you want a CPA type scrutinizing how these elected morons we put in power are spending that money? Seriously. My God, you wouldn't trust them with your money. But we are, and you just let it go. It's government. They're leaders. They'll do it right. I mean, it's crazy. And IG scrutinizes that. You heard Ed Michel say $4.5 million last year. That's conservative. That's like what you can show. There's another $1 million from the Wisner Foundation. I mean, and then there's past money saved from previous years of changing things that would have continued forever. That IG's office might save New Orleans literally $10 million plus a year, going back and today. $10 million plus a year. Jefferson Parish would be at least half that amount. St. Tammany would be similar to Jefferson. I mean, basically, Jefferson doesn't even have one. St. Tammany literally doesn't have one. No, thank God for Ed Michel. Thank God for like Raphael Goyeneche, Metropolitan Crime Commission. He handles Jefferson and St. Tammany too, so that's a good thing. I mean, St. Tammany, man. Walter Reed, the sheriff, the molester, my God. Come on. I don't know what you people are thinking over there. Get an IG already. Hey, coming up in about less than 10 minutes, State Senator Alan Seabaugh joins us to start the 5 o'clock power hour on this wide open Wednesday. We're going to discuss Senate Bill 21, eliminating traffic cameras and red light cameras statewide. That includes the city of New Orleans. What LaToya the Destroyer, evict LaToya Junket Cantrell, promised the last time she ran, get rid of those cameras, and then reneged on that. State Senator Alan Seabaugh, Senate Bill 21, eliminating traffic and red light cameras statewide. He joins us in a few minutes to discuss. I love it. I love it. Wide open Wednesday, 5 o'clock power hour coming your way next. Hey, why aren't you heading to Katie's right now? End the day in style. Blue Boy loves Katie's. What's that, buddy? Katie's has flat screen TVs. Catch all your favorite sports action like Pels, right? Katie's is the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. Blue Boy, you know what you're talking about. Folks from that neighborhood go there. Folks from outside that neighborhood, outside Orleans Parish, go there as their neighborhood joint. Big portions, New Orleans specialties. Why aren't you at Katie's in Mid-City right now? Katie's.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? nobody. It's because the Lamont team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamont Ford. We became number one for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
Exciting and new.
No. It's only exciting and new if it's exciting and new. You can't say love, exciting and new. Some people have been in love for a long, long time. They're still in love, but it might even be exciting, but it's not new. Or maybe it's not exciting at all, and it's not new. But love is not just love, exciting and new. Period. End of story. That's the definition. Move on.
It floats back to
boy. Drew Brees, please. Thank goodness. Good timing. Yeah, you right. A wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Corey Johnson back at you. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed a lot. I recommend checking it out on YouTube. Check out our YouTube channel, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on YouTube. Corey spelled K-A-A-R-E. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It doesn't cost anything. Last hour, New Orleans Inspector General Ed Michel joined us discussing the fuel cards, the New Orleans City fuel cards, the abuse, the problems. Really interesting conversation, especially when the city's buying about 1.2 million gallons of fuel for their city vehicles. We'll talk a little bit about that later in the 5 o'clock power hour. No traffic cameras or red light cameras in the city of New Orleans. No traffic cameras or red light cameras in the city of New Orleans. Senate Bill 21 by State Senator Alan Seabaugh would do that statewide. Senate Bill 21 to eliminate traffic cameras and red light cameras statewide. That includes the city of New Orleans. We're going to visit with State Senator Alan Seabaugh. We're not, Joe? Oh, not before 6? What's the deal? Wow. All right. Well, we were supposed to visit with him to start the 5 o'clock hour, but it might be a few minutes right now. And he told me he could be in session, in a meeting, voting. But we're going to get Alan Seabaugh on in the 5 o'clock powwow within the next few minutes and talk about this Senate Bill 21, which I'm giddy. I'm fired up about. Eliminating traffic cameras in New Orleans, statewide. There's a few municipalities, a handful of places statewide that have, some have red light cameras only. Some have only traffic cameras in school zones. And some have, like New Orleans, in school zones, red light cameras and speed cameras. It'll eliminate all of them. The traffic speed cameras apply to anywhere, including a school zone. The red light cameras apply to red lights. So it's any speed camera, any traffic or red light camera. Any traffic or red light camera. Traffic is a speed camera, school zone, red lights, red lights. So that includes the city of New Orleans and all their cameras. So that's great stuff. Wide Open Wednesday edition of the program. 5 o'clock powwow this afternoon brought to you by Helm Paint and Decorating. 7 locations in New Orleans, the Metro, East Bank, West Bank, North Shore. Free 2-hour delivery anywhere in Metro New Orleans. When you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, you do it once, you do it right, they'll steer you in the right direction. Helm Paint and Decorating. And now when you have to paint in Metro Baton Rouge, that's right, Tiger Town, 4 Helm Paint and Decorating locations in Baton Rouge. Benjamin Moore products, high quality Benjamin Moore products, everything you need. Painting experts, Helm Paint and Decorating. 7 locations in Metro New Orleans, 4 locations in Metro Baton Rouge. And check this out, everything through Saturday for your paint project, including your paint, 20% off. 20% off sale right now through Saturday at all 11 Helm Paint and Decorating locations, 7 in Metro New Orleans, 4 in Metro Baton Rouge. 20% off through Saturday. Take advantage of it. Get your paint. I mean, you're going to buy $400 or $500 in paint and primer to knock out your house. Instead of $500, you're getting it for $400. Instead of $100, it's $80. Just tough to beat. 5 o'clock powwow on this wide open Wednesday. Brought to you by Helm Paint and Decorating. State Senator Alan Seabaugh, Senate Bill 21, eliminating traffic cameras and red light cameras statewide. State Senator Alan Seabaugh joins us live on the program. Senator, thank you very much for the time.
I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate you talking about this issue.
No, it isn't. Why is it an issue? I agree. Why do you say it is? Why this legislation, Senate Bill 21?
Well, it's a twofold problem. I mean, first of all, this is not about public safety. It's never been about public safety. It's a money grab. And, there's 2 problems. One, I have a problem with the guilty until proven innocent concept. With the, you don't get the right to face your accuser. You're convicted based on a picture, regardless of who's driving the car. I don't like that. That's not the way this country's supposed to work. That's not the way our justice system works. But that's not even that's a reason I brought the bill, but that's not the main reason. When you get a ticket by a police officer using a radar gun, and you have to go to court, or you pay the ticket, you pay the fine, and you pay court costs. Those court costs go to fund things that are fairly important. Different areas do it different ways, but that's where the money for the public defender comes from. Crime Stoppers, the crime lab up here, the DA's office, they all get funded by the payment of court costs. And when those court costs aren't paid, they don't get the money. So when you have, these red light cameras or the speed cameras, the money goes to the company that wrote the ticket and the municipality that hired them. And it doesn't go to fund those other fairly important things, which do have to be funded, which means the city council or the legislature or somebody has to step in and use taxpayer dollars to fund the public defender system and to fund the clerk of court. And so we have to step in and use tax dollars to fill that void because the municipality is diverting it. We have issues in some areas where tens of thousands of dollars a month had been going to Crime Stoppers or whatever, that all of a sudden just stopped, went to zero when the city started using speed cameras and stopped using officers to write tickets. So it's a funding issue. It's a fundamental fairness issue. It's just one of those hidden taxes which makes it more expensive and harder to live in Louisiana. Several states have done away with them, and I would like us to be the next one.
State Senator Alan Seabaugh is with us discussing his Senate Bill 21, which would, do I have it right? No traffic cameras or red light cameras statewide.
That is correct.
What would you say if someone in the city said, hey, and I say the city of New Orleans, you're from Manny, right, Alan?
Live in Shreveport. My office is in Manny.
Okay.
Yes.
Boy, what's this guy from Manny Shreveport worrying about New Orleans and our traffic cameras? What would you say?
Well, I think a lot more of my constituents go to New Orleans and get tickets than New Orleans residents come to Manny. Although we would like to invite you. Manny's a beautiful place. We got Toledo Bend.
Yep.
It's a big touristy place. We'd like to invite you. But the fact is, it's not just New Orleans residents that are getting tickets. It's everybody that goes to New Orleans that's getting them. And I've heard a lot of complaints of people in New Orleans. I wasn't going that fast. I don't think I ran the red light. And I would like to appeal, but I don't know how. Or some states, some places you have to pay a fine in order to file the appeal. Well, avoiding paying the fine is the whole point of filing the appeal. The whole process is on its head. You're guilty until proven innocent. You have to pay in order to fight it, and then you don't get your money back if you win. And we have school zone cameras in Caddo Parish. The appeal goes to the company that wrote the ticket. So if they find you not guilty, they don't get the money. So that's just simply, there's an incentive for them to not find you innocent. So it's a backward system, and you don't get the right to go to court. And another issue is the calibration of the cameras. For a police officer to use a handheld camera, a handheld radar, he has to prove how often it was calibrated, that the readings it gave you are accurate. These red light cameras, or speed cameras rather, they sit out there for weeks and months at a time without being calibrated. They can't prove how accurate they are, and you literally can't defend it.
Hey, Senator, real quick. By the way, I'm in agreement with everything you said. I'm very happy about Senate Bill 21. It's not just, it's everywhere in Louisiana. There's lots of little towns, municipalities, all different kinds too. Speed camera, traffic camera, only in school zone, only at red light, all three. All different kind of combos. Hey, real quick, what's this story I'm hearing about an envelope across your table?
I had a lobbyist call me and ask me if I would sit down with the owner of one of the companies that has the cameras. And I did. And I had already filed the bill, and I told him before the meeting, said I filed the bill. And so we're sitting at a table. And the lobbyist pulls the envelope out and slides it across the table. And I looked at the guy and I said, I think I know what that's for. And it is my intention to put your company out of business. So, and I slid the envelope back. I said, I assume that's a campaign contribution. You can just keep it because I'm not changing my mind. I'm going to do everything I can to put you out of business.
So it wouldn't be a crime like as a bribe. They would claim it would be a campaign contribution if you were to report that.
Yeah, I think that was the intention. Under the auspices of being a campaign contribution, I don't know how big the check was. I'm still assuming there was a check there, but it was. I'm not going to be persuaded to do something that I feel is right, regardless of how big the check was. So I without looking at it, I just slid it back and said, keep it. That's one of those things that, the finances of it, or whether you contribute to my campaign or not, has absolutely nothing to do with this. I was going to file the bill regardless.
I just love the sliding the envelope. It just sounds like a Hollywood movie. It's just stunning.
It felt really good. I got to tell you, it felt really good. I just wish I would have had it on film.
Oh no, it's like a Cleo Field stuffing the money down his pants in Edward Edwards' office almost thing. The great response can't be beat. No, he's sliding it back and then saying, "My intent is to put your company out of business."
Yeah. Well. In Louisiana, yeah. I mean, if your company does red light cameras, and if that's your only source of revenue in Louisiana, my bill would get them out of the state. And I think 7 states have made them illegal completely, and several other states regulate them to some extent. And by the way, there's other bills filed this year that do away with them in different areas. There's one that says you can't send a ticket based on a photograph of a license plate. There's several other different ways that different legislators have nuanced it. Mine is just the bull in the china closet. It says we're just not going to allow any of them anywhere.
Hey, Senator, one last question. Was that lobbyist representing an Arizona-based company?
I don't think it was, but I honestly don't know where the company was from.
Gotcha.
And the lobbyist is a friend of mine. He's a guy I know and I work with. So the lobbyist was not a stranger. The owner of the company was. but the lobbyist does not.
Senator Alan Seabaugh, I really appreciate the time. What's the process for Senate Bill 21?
Got to get it scheduled in committee and move. I haven't had any legislator reach out to me and tell me they had a problem with it.
Excellent.
And so I'm going to go ahead and try to fast track it.
It's through the committee, Senate floor, House, signed by the governor if it's all passed, right?
That'll be the plan. I'm going to try to fast track it.
State Senator Alan Seabaugh, thanks so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yep. That's Alan Seabaugh, State Senator. Joe, we're not going anywhere. We're just going to sit tight. Corey Johnson with you on a wide open Wednesday. Yeah, you right. Thanks so much to State Senator Alan Seabaugh for joining us. Senate Bill 21. It's got to go through the regular process through committee, a Senate committee. They pass it. It'll go to the Senate floor. It passes there. It goes over to the House. There'll be a House version of it. Passes there. It goes to the governor's desk to be signed, and I don't know why he wouldn't. I love it. Fantastic. His answers were great as well. Why he's getting rid of it, why it's a problem, money grab. It isn't about safety. It's so true. It's not about safety. It is strictly a money grab, and he nailed it. It's a tax for essentially law-abiding citizens. You throw in the calibration of the cameras. Come on. These companies don't have an incentive to do it right. They have an incentive to do it wrong, and the recourse is tough. So he nails it. And then bringing up the other point, when police are doing it with their cameras, shooting it on the street, that camera has to be calibrated, and then the money goes to the police. When there's a traffic camera, all of a sudden that money's just going to the city and the traffic camera company. The police are left out of the equation all of a sudden. You're taking money away from the NOPD by having traffic cameras in New Orleans. If you got to have folks radaring, make it a physical person. I mean, anybody can do that. That's when you get like almost this meter maid type thing. Have them out there radaring if you want to do that. New Orleans has to be someone physically out there. The camera is nonsense. No, I love this Senate Bill 21. State Senator Alan Seabaugh joining us just a few minutes ago. If you missed that, you can check it out on YouTube. The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. Corey spelled Kaare. The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on YouTube. Thanks for checking us out on the radio. Oh, so fine. 93.9 FM. Load it, lock it, make it one of your presets. 93.9 FM. We're on Cox Channel 4 television, Spectrum Channel 333 television for 8 more minutes till 5:30. 2 hours of radio daily, 2 hours on YouTube daily, 2 hours of live streaming, CoreyTalks.com. The first 90 minutes on TV. Cox Channel 4, Spectrum Channel 333. No, thanks for checking us out. Hey, evict LaToya Junket Cantrell in Washington, D.C. Her stuff, her junk. Junket Cantrell better get her junk out of the Pontalba. It'll be on Storage Wars in a season or two. Monday, noon. I guess the locks will be changed. Governor Landry in New Orleans today, in town, signing the crime legislation that was passed. New Orleans, the OIG fuel card abuse report, the follow-up released today. Visited with Ed Michel in the 4 o'clock hour to discuss that very thing. Plus, I like the tease, got a sewage and water board report coming up in a few weeks. It's about how much water is lost. I told him he could have done the report the other way, how much actually comes out at the end. It's they lose more than half, I believe. We'll find out soon. And also payroll at the sheriff's department, Susan Hudson and payroll. I wouldn't use those two things in the same sentence. Susan Hudson, payroll. Wow. That should be an interesting report. Thank God for the New Orleans Office of Inspector General. Anyone that is against this office, you have to look at them. All I would say is it's kind of like when you're working a deal or doing something with someone and they bring up something like, don't do this. And you're like, what? I would never do that. All of a sudden, it's like, that's how they think. That's what they would do. Folks that are opposed to like the Office of Inspector General being autonomous, apolitical, being a pit bull, being on the attack, they're probably folks that are, low on the ethics, integrities, morals kind of department. On the take, easily could be on the take, have a history of deviant behavior. Look at the person when they have, when they're talking about the OIG or Rafael Goyeneche and the Metropolitan Crime Commission. You have to be very weary of folks like this. They're the ones that have the agenda where black or white or Republican or Democrat is so important. No, usually it's folks that could be racist or deviant in behavior or criminal, theft prone, whatever. I don't want someone that has a political agenda. We've had that. Do nothing, Denny Harper. You remember him, the old OIG in New Orleans? Didn't do anything besides being lazy, unorganized, kind of dopey. He was politically connected. He was worrying about black or white or Republican or Democrat. In this case, it was black and Democrat and liberal pals in New Orleans city government. That's what Jefferson Parish has. An OIG that is ineffective, that's spayed or neutered, that does nothing because it's politically controlled. Control the budget, control the office. In New Orleans, the budget is autonomous. It is part of the city budget. The city council, the mayor cannot affect the budget of the New Orleans Office of Inspector General because Bob Sarasoli set it up like foolproof. So all the fools in New Orleans, all the political hacks couldn't mess with it like they're doing in Jefferson Parish. That's why that office is worthless. Jefferson Parish citizens, you should implore your city councilman to have the OIG office in Jefferson run the exact same way as in New Orleans, same foundation, same autonomy, same, separate funding source, a percentage of the parish budget, untouchable. And North Shore folks, how about getting an IG? How about getting one? Don't you want someone scrutinizing all that public money that's being spent? Or you're okay with the folks in St. Tammany Parish government? Really? Even if they are good folks, and some of them aren't, you don't even want to trust the good ones. They're your representative. It's Louisiana. It's Metro New Orleans. It's their civic duty to steal the booty, Need to have someone on top of all that. Yeah, you right. Hey, I had a causeway question yesterday, unanswered. Maybe a beeline into the North Shore, heading south into Metri. Which parish does most of the causeway reside in? Most of the causeway is in which parish? Does Orleans come into play? Big swath of New Orleans in the lake only. Goes way west, scoops up part of that causeway. Could New Orleans be it? Like New Orleans has like 10 miles of the causeway, and then St. Tammany and Metairie only have about 8 miles each, something like that. Or what would be 7 miles each, with Orleans having 10. Which parish does most of the Causeway Bridge reside in? Give me the answer to that. I've got a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate for you. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse locations. Rouse's Markets phone lines to participate, 504-766-9480. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines. Which parish does most of the Causeway Bridge reside in? Give me the answer to that. 50 big bucks to one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spas could be yours. Speaking of the Causeway, you beeline in north. Why don't you fire in a to-go order at Treyen? First off, those lunch specials at Treyen Tuesday through Friday are ridiculous. Lots of food. It's not Chinese food. It's Chinese cuisine for fast food prices. And I'm not kidding. About 20 different lunch specials to choose from. What you got, Joe? Trey Yen in Mandeville. Go check them out. Yeah, if you're on the north, heading to the North Shore, 985-626-4476 is the number. Fire in a to-go order, curbside delivery. You don't even leave your car. Or head there tonight for dinner. Trey Yen in Mandeville. So good. Let's head to the Rouse's Markets phone lines. 504-766-9480. 504-766-9480. Roland joins us in Not So Chilly, Gentilly.
Good evening.
How you doing, Roland? What a great name.
Pretty good. Excuse me?
I said, what a great name, Rolando.
Yep. Most say strolling Roland.
Nice. Yeah, I got a buddy named Roland. Fausto's brother from the restaurant, Roland. They just sold the restaurant, Fausto's.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
I miss my pals. What's going on in Not So Chilly, Gentilly, Rolling with Roland, Strolling with Roland?
Can't say much going on today. Just a pretty day, that's for sure.
What do you think about State Senator Alan Seabaugh maybe eliminating New Orleans traffic and red light cameras?
Sounds wonderful.
You like that?
Ride share here for, 4 years, 5 years? And it's like I found out after about the second year paying that it doesn't affect anything.
Roland, what about the IG, Ed Michel, cracking down on city fuel card abuse? I'd like some free gas.
Yeah, we all would.
Yep. It's not how the real world works, though, huh?
Nope. Got to work for it.
Yep, got to work for it, no doubt. What's on your mind, man?
Well, called to answer the question, hopefully, and I think that it's going to be in St. Tammany because the Bridge Authority building where you get your toll tags and everything is situated on the St. Tammany side.
Yep.
And just thinking about it, where the boundaries go, I'm not exactly sure, but I'd say St. Tammany.
Hey, Roland, let me ask you, if you did have the right answer or do have the right answer, who would be getting that $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate?
I think I'm going to give it to my daughter.
Ah, nice. How old is she?
30.
Oh, she's going to love it. Pedicure, manicure, facial. She's like, Dad, I love you. Now, Roland, I'm going to tighten you up. I'm going to... What's that?
Grandbaby. I say, after giving me the second grandbaby, I think she deserves it.
Are you kidding me? You're blessed, man. That's fantastic. Good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, look, I'm going to tighten you up with a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate, but you are incorrect.
Oh, okay.
I said you're incorrect. Joe, there's you wrong. You wrong. Don't forget to spay and neuter your pets. I'm Bob Barker. Roland, that was a good guess, but incorrect. But like I said, I want the 30-year-old daughter with the new kid, your grandchild, another grandkid. Let her go to the Woodhouse. So hang on, Roland and Gentilly. Joe's going to get some info from you, all right?
All right. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're right. Appreciate you, man. Roland on down the highway in Not So Chilly, Gentilly. Incorrect. Okay, so St. Tammany's out. It's down to Orleans and Jefferson. Which parish does the majority of the Causeway Bridge reside in? Give me the answer to that. I've got $50 for you. Good at the Woodhouse Day Spa. 5 area locations. 2 on the South Shore, 2 on the North Shore in Baton Rouge. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. Boy, speaking of Rouse's, used to have the aroma just a month ago. King cakes. Just that aroma throughout the store. Now it's hot from the pot, boiled crawfish ready to eat. When it comes to crawfish season, Rouse's is the place. You heard me. To dinner tonight, you have to do the boil. Rouse's has it covered for you. All they're doing all day, they got a crew that just boils crawfish at each and every Rouse's all day long. Hot from the pot, ready to eat. Boiled crawfish, Rouse's style. Can't be beat. Maybe you want to bring them home yourself live from the sack and do your own boil. Rouse's has you covered. No one sells more crawfish locally. No one than Rouse's, year in, year out. No one sells more hot from the pot, ready to eat live, boiled crawfish. And no one sells live from the sack crawfish like Rouse's Markets. Best quality, best selection, best price, tastes like home. Rouse's Markets, it's crawfish season. Hey, those Rouse's Markets phone lines to participate in this program, 766-9480. 766-9480. How about State Senator Alan Seabaugh, a lobbyist with one of these red light camera companies, comes into his office, slides an envelope across the desk, like, hey, Alan, we're here to buy you. And he's like, here, slides the envelope back and says, I'm here to put you out of business. I love it. Gotta like that. State Senator Alan Seabaugh, Senate Bill 21, eliminating traffic cameras and red light cameras statewide. And yes, that includes the city of New Orleans. Are you kidding? Doesn't get much better than that. Love it. 4 o'clock hour, IG Ed Michel joined us on the program. Hey, the NOPD might move into the old Freeport McMoran building, the DXC building, that kind of cool, curved skyscraper across from the Superdome on Poydras. You got those 3 buildings in a row. It's the one closest to Claiborne's, or I guess the Gail Benson's Mercedes-Benz van store that's on Poydras and Claiborne's. It might be, trying to think, Joe, is it the Mercedes van store, then like some Entergy like thing with the brick facade, looks like 1968. Then I think it's Freeport McMoran, DMX, and then that other, those 3 buildings are pretty cool. They're like meant to, complement the dome. And I'm assuming Entergy would have been 86th and the Mercedes-Benz Van Center would have been like buildings 4 and 5. But it's New Orleans, so Entergy's still there with their 1968 2-story orange brick facade. And now it's the Gail Benson Mercedes-Benz Van Center. Anyway, it's that building, the old Freeport McMoran Tower, directly across from the dome on Poydras. It could be the new home of the NOPD. It's sad and pathetic and just sinful. During Mitch Landrieu's administration, the federal government, the U.S. Navy, handed over that naval support facility on Poland Avenue. Handed it over. I mean, it's at the Industrial Waterway, Mississippi River corner. That's a pretty serious corner. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was grade A office space, because it wasn't. It was old, outdated government office space. It needed a refresh, there's no doubt. But it was climate controlled. The doors and windows worked. It was protected. It was secure. The roof didn't leak when it rained. It was a government building that was a little old, but totally functioning. And it was about 1 million square feet, I believe. Huge parking garages. Keys handed over to the city of New Orleans. Literally, the military presence protecting the facility leaves, and vagrants just start going in. The city of New Orleans does not give a crap. They run wild in this building. I mean, could you imagine? Like, the building's functioning or functionable. You can have offices in there. The AC works. The heat works. It all works. Electricity, plumbing, bathrooms, everything. And just vagrant criminals, homeless folks go in and over time, over about a year or two, destroy the buildings. Destroy them all. Steal all the copper, any metal they could sell. Let's blow out windows. Let's graffiti everything. Rip up the carpet. Destroy stuff. Remove stuff. It's now just like demolition by vagrants. It's sad. Right away, there should have been a police presence. Let's put a police substation down there. Light it up. Have it gated. Put in some cameras, motion detectors, and have a police presence 24/7. And then slowly but surely, I mean, it could be City Hall employees. It could be more NOPD because their building sucks. Instead, it's just this cut and dry thing. NOPD building sucks. It leaks. It's got mold. It sucks. We're going to go move into this high-rise building on Poydras. You owned, don't have to lease the space. You owned a building that was working. A police presence in it was necessary to secure the building, coupled with you're adding a substation to that neighborhood in the 9th Ward. It's just, sinful's the best word I can come up with. Just something of value and letting it be destroyed. And it could be the home of the NOPD right now. Space for all their cars, everything. Instead, you're going to jam them into a CBD building. It just not well thought out, half-assed, typical city of New Orleans. No, they can't go to the naval support now because it's wrecked. But that's where they should have been going. Even some city hall offices. It's like free extra space. And the city just said, thanks. It's like giving your kids something that's of value, but you haven't taught them to, this is the only one. You break it or lose it, it's wrecked, it's ruined. We've had it for generations. Don't screw up. No, it's like giving it to a child and just wrecking it, ruining it, not having any kind of respect for it. City government hands it over and the city lets it go into demolition state, basically. Just really sad. Anyway, the NOPD could be moving to the old Freeport McMoran building, now the DXC building, which was supposed to have, I forget, I think a few thousand jobs, and it might be 100 or so in that building. I think there's like 6 floors that they've supposed to be renting out that just sit empty. Not a home run. Not a home run. We'll talk with Michael Hecht about it on Friday when he joins us from Greater New Orleans. Saying, by the way, that Friday segment always brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant. They're hiring a culture of innovation, and Latrim wants you. Go to their website. It's not like 2 job openings. It's dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of job openings at their Elmwood facility under the UEP Long Bridge and at their North Shore facility off I-12. Latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M, Latrim.com.
At Home Paint and Decorating, our paints are in it for the long haul. In fact, our Top Bench & More exterior paints come with a lifetime warranty. Not 25 years, not 50 years, we mean forever. You heard right. At Helm Paint, our top exterior paints have a lifetime warranty against chipping, peeling, and flaking. They also are mildew resistant. Imagine painting your home one time and being done with it. Visit any one of our locations today and make that once-in-a-lifetime purchase. Paint that has a lifetime warranty. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Served in New Orleans' finest restaurants, Leidenheimer French bread.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. No AC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. No AC.com, your cool spot.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com. Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
This is how I dance, Joe. I can't do the commentary about it. Did you see the Donald Trump thing? Just what the guy, he just does this. But you heard the comment about that? The Bill Maher comment? Oh, you don't want to. You got to look it up. Bill Maher commenting last week on how Donald Trump dances. That's all you have to do. And just his description of it is kind of pee-pee in your pants funny. Like, I rewound it a couple of times. It was so funny. Just hysterical. Just, Bill Maher's delivery's pretty good. And then just this was just kind of pee-pee in your pants funny. Anyway. Can't win, dog in the Trumpster, Joe. Can't win, dog in the Trumpster. Corey, you do a talk radio show in New Orleans. Corey, most of the business owners in New Orleans are white. Corey, most white people in New Orleans are conservative. Corey, most people that are white and conservative in New Orleans love Donald Trump. Corey, people that go to the advertisers and your clients, most of them are white and have money. Corey, you dog Donald Trump, there's no benefit. Trump sucks. Anyway, it's a wide open Wednesday. I love all my audience. I can't help what the demographics are. That's what it is. I guess, I could have sold out and been somebody I wasn't and just kind of taken the easy road. I'm not being critical, but conservative talk radio is very, very popular, and liberal talk radio isn't. Like a liberal talk radio would just be, it's like Air America, just off the air before it starts. So I could have sold out and just done like a fake right-wing show and probably been very popular and successful in New Orleans. Instead, I just try to do a show that's very popular and successful in New Orleans that is me being my true self. And I've always been kind of middle of the road. I remember when I was 18, it was time to register to vote. I'm like, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. No, I like some conservative ideals. No, I like some liberal ideas. Where's independent? Oh, other. Boom, other. Independent. Since I was 18, the day I could register. Just how it is. It's not good or bad that I'm this or you're a Republican or a Democrat or a Libertarian or an independent like me. It's not good or bad. I'm just telling you how it was, how it is for me. Just never, ever said, I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican. Let me register that way. And it wasn't like I'm anti-party. I'm like, where is it at? I would have done it when it says white, Latino, black. I do white. I scratch white. It's sort of, just easy. There's no like struggle. Not trying to figure it out. Maybe I'm black. Maybe I'm Latino. I could be Asian. I'm white. It's easy. Republican, Democrat. I'm like, no, that doesn't really fit me. That's not my description. Other, independent. No, I just think, I don't think I know. My lifetime, best economy, America on solid footing, you could argue. Ronald Reagan president, Democrat-controlled Congress. Or maybe Bill Clinton president, Republican-controlled Congress. Like, there had to be flexibility. And believe me, that was in the past, different political scene. Today, it's just extreme left, extreme right. The other side sucks attacking. But back then, the other sides worked together. Tip O'Neill, Ronald Reagan were like friends. Tip O'Neill was a, staunch liberal, and Reagan was a staunch conservative. They banged things out. I think if we had all Republican or all Democrat anything, you have disaster. Hey, look no further than New Orleans and Louisiana. Two pretty good examples. The city and state basically failed when compared to the competition, other cities and other states. Not like ourselves in a vacuum. And the city is painfully Democrat. Like hard to find a conservative, hard to find a Republican or one that has any power. And the state is painfully right-wing. Hard to find a Democrat, and they do exist, obviously, but hard to find any that have stroker power. And I think that's why New Orleans and Louisiana suffer. We don't have like, it isn't like New Orleans is Democrat run. New Orleans is loony left run. And in like Louisiana's kind of Republican run. It's red. It's wacky right. It's evangelical. So these extremes just kind of, fill the old punch bowl full of cat poop. No bueno. Hey, this program every day brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kennebra on the car corner, Williams Boulevard and I-10. Right on the corner, right on the price. Home of Lamarck Ford, the big store, #1 in the region. Home of Lamarck Lincoln, #1 in the state. And now the legendary Ford truck dealership under the Lamarck umbrella. Lamarck Crescent City Ford on Jefferson Highway. Every day, this program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex. And now, Lamarck Crescent City Ford.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center. It's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop. 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria. Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Blue Plate mayonnaise. It's on your grocer's shelf right now. A lot of folks like, can't find the Blue Plate, can't find the Blue Plate. The old label is gone, and the new label doesn't look at anything at all like the old label. But it comes from old Blue Plate mayonnaise labels when it was in a jar, when, those jars were kind of molded with a kind of a photo built into the glass. No, they went back to their roots. So it is a brand new label. It says Blue Plate right on that label, but it's different. So I think people are scratching their head going, is this a different flavor? Is this a different variety? Is this really Blue Plate? Is there a competitor that has the name? I know there's some confusion out there. All I can tell you is New Orleans' own Blue Plate mayonnaise. The mayonnaise you grew up with, the mayonnaise you love. New look, same legendary taste. Different label, but what's inside that jar or squeeze bottle, that great Blue Plate mayonnaise you've always loved, it's at your grocer. New look, same legendary taste. Blue Plate mayonnaise. Pick up a jar or squeeze bottle today Hey, what, Blue Boy? Ed Michel in the 4 o'clock hour talking about city fuel card abuse. He did a great job. I agree, Blue Boy. Lots of information from Ed Michel. You like State Senator Alan Seabaugh talking about eliminating all traffic and red light cameras in the state, and that includes New Orleans. You love it, Blue Boy? I do too. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for watching and listening. Mañana, 4 p.m.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.